As I get older, I find myself doing things differently, like going to bed early, wearing athleisure all the time, and bird watching. I genuinely love being outside and in nature, but until recently, I couldn't name more than a pigeon or a crow. But there are 11,000 bird species in the world, and over 400 in my neighborhood alone. I wanted to tap into this hidden world of birds and get to know everything flying around in my backyard. So I built a bird listener. Here's what I used: a Raspberry Pi 5, a USB microphone, and a projector because I already had one. The setup is pretty straightforward. Flash the Pi, plug in the mic, and install the BirdNET Python library. BirdNET is a free and open source library that uses AI to identify birds from the audio. It's like Shazam for bird calls. It's not perfect, but for common backyard species, it's shockingly reliable. There's a few different versions of the software. I went with the Python library because I wanted a super customized setup. I'll link to the GitHub repo below with my exact configuration. There's also BirdNET Pi if you want something more plug and play. I already had a projector that I wasn't using, so I set it up to display the birds as they're detected, right on my wall. So when I'm working at my desk, it's kind of a nice, gentle reminder of the world outside. The bird stays up for a little bit and then fades away, and it keeps a tally of all the birds detected that day. At first, I was getting a fair amount of false positives. So I added a local filter to make sure I wasn't detecting any exotic species that don't exist in my neighborhood, and dialed in the confidence level until I felt pretty good about the detections. The display is just a local web page, so if you don't have a projector, you can use a spare monitor or check in from your laptop or phone. The detections are stored in a SQLite database, and there's even an API to explore the history and truly customize your display. I've had this running for about a week, and I wanted to add one little thing. I wanted to see what was going on and check in on my birds when I'm away from home. But my Pi was only on my local network, so I added Tailscale to my Pi and my phone. It's free for personal projects and creates a secure encrypted tunnel between them. And now I can check on my birds from anywhere. Okay, it's been about a month and picking up on a lot of birds that I've never even seen before. So now I know what's in my backyard, which is pretty cool. But there are a lot of the same ones. And I want to find a lot more birds, so let's make it mobile. We'll add a battery, GPS tracker, and a small display so we can see what's going on. And I want a map view to find out where all the birds like to hang out. Let's go to the park. The battery life on this is pretty solid. I've used less than 20% and we've been going for about an hour. I can see the detections as they come in and track my route. This kind of bird watching really scratches my brain in a new way. It's kind of like Pokemon Go, but for grown-ups. Learning to recognize new species, new calls, new patterns. It turns out this kind of thing is actually really good for your brain at any age. I went from knowing pigeon and crow to lots more. I learned the difference between a dove and a pigeon is mostly marketing. I also learned that what I thought were just big crows and little crows were actually ravens and crows, and you can actually tell them apart quite easily. I also started thinking there might be an entire flock of nuthatches living in my backyard. I was getting a huge amount of detections. But again, BirdNet's not perfect. And since I'd never heard of a nuthatch before this project, I had to do a little bit of research on my own. Was BirdNet misclassifying a white-breasted nuthatch when it was more likely a pygmy nuthatch? Maybe. So then I went deeper and mapped out all the detections by time of day. And I could see that most of those nuthatch detections were happening overnight, when most birds are sleeping. So it's probably a house noise or something that's being misclassified as the nuthatch. I'll keep making adjustments. With my data stored locally, I can map out trends over time, watch the bird seasons change. I learned there's something called a dawn chorus, a spike of bird calls right around sunrise, which I'm usually asleep for. I'm really surprised by all the detections that we were able to pick up from my Pi at home from inside the house. But I have terribly insulated single-pane windows. I could upgrade to a better mic or weatherproof the entire setup and move it outside to make even more detections. Like I see hummingbirds all the time, but haven't been able to pick it up on this mic yet. And so far this only detects birds with audio input. Another easy addition would be to cut into my home security cameras to get a visual log of everything that comes through the backyard. Another idea is to move the entire setup to a more powerful edge computer and set up a local generative AI program to query and learn more about the detections. So there's lots of directions you could go with this. If you think this is cool but you're not about to build your own custom app, there's a few free apps that I want to tell you about. They're both from the same folks that created BirdNET. The first is the very popular Merlin, which is a general-purpose field guide for identifying birds. The other is its less popular cousin, eBird, which specializes in bird songs for the hardcore bird researchers. I do a lot of little side projects that go by the wayside, but for me, this one's a keeper. It's really enjoyable and peaceful to have running in the background. It's not distracting, and I can check in when I want from where I want. It's also changed how I walk around the city. When I hear something, I stop and I listen.